Welcome back to Hawkeye's House of Horrors. And if this is the first time you've been here, looked at one of my film reviews, thank you very much for stopping by. I am Hawkeye, and I'm going through the Halloween series. And at this point now, I'm going to do a review for the fourth installment, that is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Due to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch had absolutely nothing to do with Michael Myers at all. But due to poor box office results as well as reviews of that particular film at the time, I think they were probably rather harsh on it. They abandoned the idea of continuing to do scary stories on Halloween using the Halloween title, and instead are going back with Michael Myers as the uh, slasher, right? The main villain in the those particular slashers, wanting to return to its roots, if you will. Now, I'll say as well, if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you hit like, as well as I would really appreciate it as well if you would subscribe or check out some of my other videos. As I said, I'm going through the Halloween films at this point. So I'm going to have some other Halloween films on here as well. And as well, if you want to comment on anything, go ahead and do so as well. It'd be great to get your opinions. Now, Halloween 4, it was directed by Dwight H. Little. And he's done some theatrical films as well. One in particular that jumped out to me was The Phantom of the Opera, starring Robert Englund. I believe he did it the previous year, no, the following year, sorry. I've never seen that one. Like to see it at some point. I do like my Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street. But he's also done tons of TV stuff like X-Files or From Dusk Till Dawn, just to name a couple. So he's directed quite a few different things. Now, the story was done by Danny Lipsius, Larry Ratner, Benjamin Ruffner, and Alan B. McElroy. And the screenplay ended up, it was McElroy that did that in the end. When looking at the group of them, I would definitely say it's McElroy who may have been the writer of the group, or certainly has a lot more projects under his belt. This might have been his very first film he did. Yeah, it was his first screenplay. But he went on to write Spawn, Wrong Turn, um, as well as stuff on TV as well. So newer Star Trek shows like Discovery and Strange New Worlds as well. So he's written quite a few different things. Now, from what I found out, the script was wrote in only 11 days. These Halloween films seem to be cranked out pretty quickly. The first one was written in, might have been 10 days. Now, originally, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill were going to be involved with this film. But the screenplay that was released, um, it leaned much more towards the psychological horror than, your straight up slasher. Um, and the producers weren't really wanting that. They were wanting that slasher. Um, Bring Michael Myers back, make him the killer. So they parted ways at that point. Um, Now, this film was released, of course, just in time for Halloween, October the 21st, 1988. And it had a budget of $5 million, or in today's money, that's 2026, that would be a budget of $13.7 million. And it did very well at the box office as well. It made 17.8 million, or in today's dollars, that'd be 40, just under 49 million bucks on, yeah. So it did pretty well. And it was the number one film in the United States for 2 consecutive weeks as well. Now, in this film, I find there's a lot of nods to the original film, which is a plus for me. I love the original Halloween. So it's definitely a plus, something that definitely works for me. Now, the story starts on October the 30th, 1988, and Myers is going to be transferred to another hospital. So Dr. Hoffman, this character was in the original film as well, but now he's played by Michael Padaki. I remember him in Rocky Four, um, but he's the doctor signing off on the transfer. Of course, along the way, in the was it an ambulance? I think that they're in. Michael kills everyone else. Everyone on this ambulance might have been like three or four people. Um, while they're driving down the road transferring them. And Michael here it's played by Michael, or no, sorry, George Wilbur. He does well in the role. I think it's an improvement over part two. The performance in part two was a little bit too robotic, in my opinion, but better performance here, I think, in that role for this picture here. And Wilbur later would reprise the role or return as Michael Myers in the sixth film, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, as well. Now, the mask that he's wearing, I'd say it may be one of the better ones in the Halloween series, like the original. Like, let's talk about the first six films. First eight films. That, you know, those particular films. This one might be one of the better ones. It's I'm sorry you can't. They never outdid the original. Part one, part two. That was the best looking mask. This one's okay. It's not bad. Um, from what I saw. Um, so yeah, there you go with the mask. So of course, Michael, he's gonna go back to Haddonfield, but this time he's after his niece, Jamie, played very well by Danielle Harris in her screen debut. And guess who she's named after? You got it. Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween. And she's also, Jamie is the daughter of Laurie Strode as well. Now, of course, we also have to mention Dr. Loomis, played once again by Donald Pleasance. Um, Once again, great performance, no doubt about it. You can see the burns on his face and his hands, I believe, due to the ending of Halloween 2, where there was an explosion in the hospital between Michael and Dr. Loomis. So you can see that on him now. Um, and his character has evolved into or has plunged deeper into the motivation to stop Michael Myers. So yeah, he's yeah, one track mind, kind of hell bent for leather, if you will, in stopping Michael Myers. Um, Now after leaving of the ambulance, laying in a river, and Michael not at the scene, he's going back to Haddonfield. Dr. Loomis is in search of his old patient. In Haddonfield, we get the police with Sheriff Don't Grope My Daughter Meeker, played by Bo Starr, who I found out he actually played in the Canadian Football League for the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats for a couple of seasons. So he's a big guy, for sure. But yeah, Bo Starr. And we have a bunch of new characters here as well as Sheriff Meeker. Um, as Yeah, Dr. Loomis and Dr. Hoffman are the only returning characters from the original two films, beyond, of course, Michael Myers. Um, so first we have Jamie. I've talked about her, but I think she's a great character here. She's supposed to be seven. but she's looks more like she's 10, and I think that's how old Danielle Harris was when she was in this role. As I said, she's the daughter of Laurie Strode. And I looked it up. Some guy named Mr. Lloyd, so Jamie Lloyd is her name. I always think it should have been Jimmy from part two because he survives, doesn't he? Halloween 2, the paramedic. Um, they got a thing going. Never happens. Anyways, there's also Jamie's foster sister, Rachel, played very well by Ellie Cornell, and I really like this character. I think it was well written, well performed. Um, she seems real, caring, very sisterly towards Jamie, and they have a good bond, the two of them. That must have really intensified after this film, right? What these two characters go through in this film, that bond must have strengthened as well. And we also have Brady, played by Sasha Jensen he was also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And definitely every time I see him, I think of the film Dazed and Confused as well. Um, he's Rachel's boyfriend, and he comes across as a nice guy, but he's cheating on her. Um, yeah, he is with Kelly, another new character, played by Kathleen Kinmont. He was also in Bride of the Reanimator. She's your spunky, sexy girl all the guys want, and she also happens to be the daughter of Sheriff Meeker. So look out, guys. So there you go. Now, there's a good opening in this film as the credits are rolling. I really like it. It brings images of autumn and Halloween. It really does a good job in setting the stage for the film, the setting, um, everything like that. I think it does a good job with that. I like how Michael is first introduced to Jamie here, as he literally is the monster under the bed. It is Michael Myers. Much like in the first one, he was the boogeyman to Tommy Doyle. Here he is the monster under the bed for Jamie, and I thought that was a good intro of his character to Jamie, who he is, well, coming back to town to get right. Um, to me, it does have a scene that may come across like the original film as Michael is supernatural. Maybe I'm really trying to grab onto this, but as Dr. Loomis and him face off in a gas bar restaurant, I think it's called Penny's. Loomis sees him and fires his gun at him. He should know better. That's not going to do anything. And then he never looks away, but then you get Dr. Loomis's POV, his point of view, and there's no one standing there. So it's like he disappeared right in front of his eyes. And it echoes, as I said, that scene of Laurie in the original film, seeing Michael Myers outside her home, and boom, he just disappears, bringing that supernatural uh, element to that character. Now, two characters in this film, I like this. There's Lindsay, played by Leslie L. Rowland, and Tommy, played by Danny Ray. They have to be Lindsay Wallace and Tommy Doyle, right? I think that's cool. They're each just in one scene. Um, Lindsay is Rachel's friend. Tommy is a buddy of Brady. Um, but I think that's cool that they've been added into this film here. I know Tommy Doyle, he comes back in part six as well. And beyond that, I'm not sure. They may come back somewhere else too. There's a lot of Halloween films, guys. But but in this scene with Tommy, it gives me a laugh. It's probably the biggest laugh in the film for me. because Tommy and Brady, and they also have another buddy there named Wade, played by Richard Stay. Um, he's got his eyes peeled, or his eyes staring at Kelly, who works in the same store as Brady does. He's gonna go and ask her out on a date, so the guys throw the money on the table. Um, put a bet you can't ask her out and everything like that. So he walks over to her. She turns around and just says, "Fuck off, Wade." So he lost that bet. I thought that was pretty funny. And in the store as well is where Michael steals his mask, the iconic Halloween mask. And Jamie is in there looking for a Halloween costume. Um, Looking at their Halloween costumes back then and the masks, they're way better than the stuff I find now in stores. They're not as creepy and spooky as they are in this store here. So that would be, I would have liked some of those masks as a kid. That would have been pretty cool. In the end, Jamie picks a clown costume, a nod to the original film, as Michael Myers was in a clown costume when he killed his older sister back in 1963. Um, so there you go. And then something happens that, in this particular film, anyways, it's not developed or talked about beyond this one scene, really, unless it somehow ties into the ending, but that's really kind of unexplained and loosely tied in there if you're just looking at this particular film. But when she sees, like, she's looking in a mirror at herself with the clown costume, she sees Michael as a child in the clown costume. And then he appears behind her with a knife in his hand, like he's going to kill her. So it makes me ask the question, is she psychic or something? Or has this mental ability or something that she's able to connect with her uncle in some weird way? Um, but it's not really developed very well or beyond that in my mind for this particular film. Once I jump into part five, maybe there's something else there. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but we'll wait. I'll just leave it at that. When during Halloween, they go to the Meeker's house, and I love how Kelly answers the door only wearing a shirt, and it ain't a big one, I'll tell you. Happy Halloween. Wow. Yep, I bet you all the little boys are going to that house on Halloween. Something tells me. So I noticed too the kids or the teenagers of Haddonfield are also quite stupid as they stand around the cops wearing Michael Myers' costume, pretending that they are him, meaning the cops are going to shoot you. Um, wow. They should have been shot and killed. They weren't. And then they laugh and run away. And it's like, man, he should have been shot there. But anyways, I definitely noted in this film Brady's death scene. That's pretty bad. He he's got a shotgun. Michael Myers coming up the stairs, of course doesn't shoot him, and then he hits him with the gun, but seems to have no effect, and he just grabs Brady and like begins to crush his head, his skull. Um, yeah, not a good way to go. Um, and then we have a very interesting ending, I think, that was never followed up. I know that for sure in the next film. As in the end, it's Jamie, I'm assuming here, she kills her foster mother and then comes downstairs wearing the clown costume. for Sheriff Meeker and Dr. Loomis to see her, and Loomis is like losing his mind, um, seeing that the niece of his patient is now following in his footsteps. Um, but they never, in the next film, they never go with that. It's Michael Myers again, and it's like Jamie never did that. So it was a interesting ending, setting up something different that I gotta say, sadly, they didn't follow that. Maybe they should have. Um, I'm not a fan of part five or part six, but hey, um, maybe when I watch them, they'll be better. But I think maybe should have followed the ending that was here. One thing I don't like about Dr. Loomis's character, though, in this film, um, is how okay he is with there being a lynch mob of all these guys who probably have drank too much and now are all heavily armed, running around Haddonfield. How he's fine with that. That's a great idea. And what is the first thing this mob does once they go out on their own? They shoot someone dead who's not Michael Myers. I don't know why he's like kneeling around or like rummaging through a bush somewhere, but he's shot and killed by this lynch mob. That's not good. That wasn't a good decision to create this lynch mob. Um, and it makes Loomis's character come across to me that he does not care who stands in his way in getting Myers, which is strange because it defeats the whole purpose of what he's doing. He's trying to stop Michael Myers from, well, killing more people or to keep him under lock and key, right? Um, so it kind of defeats that whole purpose, um, what he's doing there and being okay with this lynch mob. Um, now call me crazy. Um, and Michael Myers was never the same after the original film. Um, he never was. But I find by this point, this is the third time we see Michael Myers. We're well into the 80s. Um, we're well into there have been at least six Friday the 13th as well. And I find he's coming more and more closer to Jason Voorhees in a sense. He's seems super duper strong, like stronger than he was before, and you definitely have a feeling he can't be stopped, just like Jason Voorhees. Um, but you know, those two were definitely the slasher rivals with the mask and the knife, all that. Although Jason didn't use the knife near as much as Michael did, but I find they're starting to become a little bit similar here, or more similar than in the previous films. Now, supposedly in the original script I had read, Dr. Loomis had died in Halloween 2. So his character was actually dead. So Donald Pleasance wasn't going to be in this film. But his daughter was brought in, her character, to continue the chase to stop Michael. Donald's real life daughter, Angela, was thought of for this role, and would have been cool to see her in that role. And she looks hauntingly a lot like her father, the same face shape and eyes and all that. That would have been very interesting if they brought her in. And I believe she's still alive. I've seen her in a couple things, a couple horror films. But yeah, that was an idea they had thrown around. Now, watching this film, I definitely thought this movie's going to have a high body count, and yes, I was right. Counted out 19. if you include a dog. Michael likes killing dogs. So that, yeah, that's a high body count to me. And this one was filmed in Salt Lake City, Utah, as well, standing in for Haddonfield, Illinois. And there was also a novelization written by Nicholas Grabowski, um, for this particular film. And hey, I don't know if I said it. I like this film. This is a good sequel. It's on the right side of the fence for me. And yeah, I've seen it a number of times. It's been a while since I've seen it. Might have been 10 years, but it was good to watch it again and give you a review for this one. So that's Halloween 4. It's a good one. Um, so yeah, there you have it. So yeah, I'm gonna probably today, I hope, watch Halloween 5 and work on doing a review for that next. But until next time, guys, stay scared out there.